Why are you even in this house? You're like a parasite living off of us. Here, as soon as the words left my mouth, my mother-in-law wasted no time throwing my belongings out of the window. I protested her irrational actions, asking, "What did you say? Don't you dare talk back to me. Can you pick my stuff up, please?" I pleaded. In response, my mother-in-law put a knife to my throat, paralyzing me with fear. "Get out, or this won't just be a game anymore." "I understand. If that's the case, I'll leave immediately," I replied. She gave me a week to vacate the premises, and I showed respect, though I couldn't suppress a hidden amusement beneath my straight face. Little did she know that I was the one supporting this house. Despite the torment I endured living with my mother-in-law, the fear from earlier vanished. I thought, if you've got what it takes, then prove it. "I'll give you a week. I expect you to be out of here by then," she declared. "Thank you," I said, showing respect, though laughter lingered just beneath the surface, hoping she didn't notice. I believed my departure would bring peace to our home. Little did she know, leaving her in the family home, I moved to a high-rise apartment. Eventually, she would learn the truth, but by then, it would be too late. I am Valerie Reynolds, applying my past work experience while working from home. It had been 5 years since I married Justin, expecting a peaceful and happy life. However, life took an unexpected turn when Justin had a construction site accident, resulting in the loss of most of the use of his dominant arm. Grateful that he survived, I found myself in the hospital room, tears streaming down my face. My mother-in-law arrived, seemingly oblivious to my presence, rushing to Justin's side. She suggested he stay with her, and I was taken aback by the proposal. When she noticed my surprise, she coldly questioned, "What's wrong? Do you have a problem with that?" "No, it's not that. It's just a bit sudden with my son like this. I can't leave everything up to you," I retorted, irritated by her words. Justin, however, expressed his trust in me, saying, "Valerie has been working hard all this time. That's why I trust her." Going forward, my mother-in-law, displeased, made an inaudible noise, but she couldn't sway my determination. "Well, anyway, come to the house as soon as you're discharged from the hospital." "Of course, you're invited, Valerie." "That goes without saying," she said. I could predict what would happen if everything were left up to my mother-in-law. "By the way, Valerie, I'm leaving all the moving arrangements to you," my husband chimed in. "It's too much for one person to handle alone. Mom, please help her out." I hoped he would insist more strongly, but it seemed my mother-in-law had no intention of helping and ignored my husband's words. "I have my own things to do, you know." She smirked at me, unnoticed by my husband. It felt ominous, and so began our life living with my mother-in-law. A month later, my husband was discharged from the hospital, and I was busy with the move, leaving the task of picking him up to my mother-in-law. She came to me and said, "Aren't you done yet? I told you today was Justin's discharge day, and yet you didn't even come to pick him up. But that's because—" "You see, Justin," I started, but my husband interrupted. "Just like I said, right? This person only thinks about herself." My mother-in-law's intention was clear. She was trying to make me look bad in front of my husband. I decided not to take her obvious bait. Looking at my husband, he had a warm and understanding look in his eyes. "Come on, Mom, stop this. It's unsightly. I'm doing this for your sake." "Well, no one asked you to wait." The sight of my mother-in-law running after my husband was comically pathetic. When she noticed, she glared at me with an evil expression. "Not that her glare meant anything to me, Justin. You can just take it easy and relax at home from now on," I suggested. "That's impossible. My right hand might not work, but I don't want to be a burden on Valerie," he replied. "I can understand that, but you've just been discharged from the hospital." "Still, I can be satisfied if I don't do something." Justin was adamant. And initially, I had hoped he would take some time to relax, but seeing his determination, I decided to respect his wishes. Doing everything at once might be too much. So how about starting with some light cleaning? "It could be good for rehabilitation," I suggested. "That's a good idea. I don't know if this hand will ever fully recover, but it's better than doing nothing. But on one condition, don't overdo it, got it? I wouldn't want to be scolded. It's scary to make you angry. Justin acted as if nothing was wrong, making it clear that he didn't want to make me worry. So I resolved to work even harder for the both of us. However, I had forgotten about one person who would interfere, Valerie. Wait a minute. What's the matter? Why is Justin cleaning? You must have forced him to do it, right? Your words are just a friend. My mother-in-law accused. She judged things only by what she saw, oblivious to the underlying thoughts and emotions. Dealing with that was a challenge in itself. You're always just cooped up in your room, playing around. Honestly, in such a situation with your husband seriously injured. Actually, I'm working. It's called remote work these days, I defended. I've had enough of that excuse, my mother-in-law replied. It's not an excuse, I said. Just then, my mother-in-law grabbed a nearby trash can and threw it at me. Luckily, it didn't hit me directly, but the trash went everywhere. I lost the energy to explain things to her further. It was clear from the start that she had no intention of listening. This trash is disgusting. Clean it up yourself, she said, as I sighed and started picking it up. Justin approached me and asked, Hey, what happened? Oh, this is just a small incident, I replied with a forced smile. But Justin seemed to have realized something. He usually appears calm, but sometimes he's surprisingly perceptive. Did Mom do something? Are you hiding something? Can you be honest with me? Justin was looking at me with a serious expression. Seeing his face, I felt that I couldn't lie, so I told him what had happened. Got it. I'll talk to Mom about this. Oh, it's fine, you really. But it's not okay. I'll talk to her properly. No, but that is. I was happy to get his help, but I was worried about what would come next. In the end, I would be the one blamed. I stared at the ceiling, deep in thought. Night came, and I thought Valerie was just playing around. That's not true. Valerie has been working hard, even my share. Then why were you cleaning? I offered to do it. I can't just sit around doing nothing at home. But you just got out of the hospital. I know my own body best. Justin's stern words silenced his mother. She might not have expected her son to speak to her like that. But if she really does think that she's above such things, she's just arrogant. I hoped that this would calm her down a bit. That day, Justin went out for rehabilitation, leaving me alone with my mother-in-law. As I was working in my room as usual, she showed up. Can we talk? Sorry, can you wait just a bit? About 15 more minutes? No, I can't wait right now. All right, I'm coming. I hurried along and went to the living room where an unknown woman was waiting for us. Excuse me, who is this? Have a seat first, we'll talk. After that, I had no choice but to follow my mother-in-law, but I couldn't grasp the situation. As I was trying to figure it out, the woman started speaking. So this is the one you were talking about, the wife who just plays around without working. Yes, it's true. My mother-in-law was laughing eerily. So you realize that you're an unnecessary presence in this house. What are you talking about? Looking around, I saw them sighing. I didn't understand. Suddenly confronted by a stranger and put down as the target of blame. If I could, I would have left that place in an instant. Don't you understand? Unnecessary people are not needed here. What do you mean? More perplexing questions followed. They kept insisting on how incompetent I was. Enduring such accusations could mentally exhaust anyone. Isn't it time you realize your place? Shouldn't I be asking you? How dare a daughter-in-law toy her mother-in-law? Spending time on such unproductive things, isn't it a waste of time? What nerve of a daughter-in-law, really now? I felt like I was reaching my limit. I didn't know what my mother-in-law would do if she got angrier. That's when I came up with an idea. Oh, isn't it about time that Justin comes back from rehab? Is it that time already? Just then, the unknown woman left quickly. I'll come again soon. Okay, I'll be waiting for you. Let's talk again. My mother-in-law and her friend were fooled. In reality, Justin wouldn't be home for another hour. It was just getting good. Speaking of which, who was that woman? I finally asked a question that had been on my mind. That's Susan, a close friend of mine. She wanted to meet you after hearing about you. It wasn't hard to guess how my mother-in-law had introduced me, probably as a useless wife who does nothing but play around. I sighed when mother-in-law for doing nothing else but that. So that's the case? Well, Justin will be back a bit later. I'm going back to work now, I said. As I was about to return to my room, she said, Wait, what do you mean? Just as I said, he's not coming back yet. You lied. You didn't realize. Why do you act like this? I decided to use this opportunity to speak my mind. Any further interference from my mother-in-law would just be a nuisance. Actually, you were the one who started things, right? You called your friend because you can't do anything alone. That's not true. I can handle you fine by myself. Then why don't you try to see if you really can? I deliberately provoked my mother-in-law, thinking this would prompt her to take some action. And as expected, she reacted. If you want to apologize, now is the time. I have no such intention, I said. At that, my mother-in-law exploded in anger, grabbing a nearby vase and throwing it at me, similar to how she had previously thrown the trash can. I had anticipated it and easily dodged, even showing a provocative smile. Just then, Justin came home. My mother-in-law was visibly shaken. Why are you home already? It's not time yet. Oh, sorry, I lied earlier. I was actually on my way back. Why would you do that? Justin asked. Isn't it obvious? I said, pointing to the shattered vase. I couldn't help but find the situation amusing. Hey, what's this? What happened? Justin asked. Your mom threw it at me. What? You mean? A lady just came over, claiming to be your mom's friend. I told Justin everything that happened. He showed a mix of surprise and anger. Is that true, Mom? Well, so it's true then. Why would you do that? I didn't mean to, my mother-in-law muttered. Watching my mother-in-law being scolded, I felt a sense of retribution for all the hardships I had endured. Well, I have something to do, so okay, Justin said. Ignoring my mother-in-law's words, I returned to my room, thinking this would end her bullying. I truly believed it. After that, calm days continued for a while. But having stayed up all night, I had dozed off past noon. Sorry to wake you, but can you come here for a moment? Justin asked. Okay, sure, I replied. Justin seemed unusually serious. My mother-in-law was there in the living room. What's going on? Look at this, Justin said. I looked at the table to find a disassembled plastic model scattered about. It was one of Justin's hobbies, and he had treasured it. When I came home, it was like this. Do you know anything? No, I have no clue, I replied. I couldn't think of any reason for it. This plastic model was in my father-in-law's room before, but of course, I hadn't been in that room today, nor had I entered it recently. Someone must have broken it for it to be like this, Justin said. My eyes naturally turned towards my mother-in-law. She was the only suspect. My mother-in-law had a strange, eerie smile on her face, like she was possessed. I understood the situation. Even if someone broke it, I was out. I met Justin on my way back from Susan's place, remember? Yes, but... And then I found this in the room, my mother-in-law said, holding a shiny object. Is that an earring? I instinctively checked my own ears. My left earring was missing. I was certain of my suspicions. It was clear revenge on me for last time. This is yours, isn't it, Mallory? And it looks like only the left one is missing, Justin said. I took a deep breath. Showing anger now would mean that I would be playing into her hands. Indeed, it's mine. But isn't it premature to conclude that I broke it? Making excuses is so unbecoming. We have evidence. Anyway, it's broken. Wait a minute, Justin said, leaving the room. At that moment, my mother-in-law's gaze was fixed on me. The situation made me feel like Justin saw me as a criminal, and I just stood there stunned. It's a shame. This would have been the end of you if you did it. You set a trap, didn't you? You'll find no evidence anywhere. If only you had followed my advice, this wouldn't have happened, my mother-in-law said. If I explain things to him properly, he'll understand, won't he? I asked. Her words became reality. No matter how much I insisted to Justin that it wasn't my fault, he wouldn't take me seriously. I haven't done anything wrong, maybe. I get it, Justin interrupted, immediately averting his gaze. Laughter echoed from behind us. See, I told you so. What does that matter? It's sad that you don't want to admit defeat. After that, I immersed myself in work. It was almost like escaping from reality. Conversations with Justin became less frequent, and about 2 weeks went by during this time. My mother-in-law seemed quite pleased with herself. You seem down lately. Is there something troubling you? There's no need for you to worry. Please stop. It's too late for that. Acting tough is useless on this day. My mother-in-law was in an especially good mood. My feeling of foreboding came true, eventually becoming reality. It happened while I was cleaning the room. Why are you even in this house? You're like a parasite living off of us here. What's gotten into you all of a sudden? You always talk back. Such a noisy daughter-in-law, she said. After saying that, she threw my belongings out of the window. What are you doing? I protested her insane actions, questioning what had gotten into her. You're too noisy, always talking back. Can you pick my stuff up, please? I said, hoping for some reason to prevail. But as I said that, my mother-in-law put a knife to my throat. I was frozen in fear, unable to move. It's better if you stay still. A normal person wouldn't do this, I managed to utter. My mother-in-law was clearly deranged. If you don't leave now, next time it won't be just a joke, she threatened. I understand. I'll leave, I said, realizing that staying would only drag me further into her madness. You have a week. Leave before then. Thank you, she said. It was evident that staying would only worsen things in her madness. My mother-in-law didn't understand who truly supported this house. She lived comfortably and leisurely thanks to me, yet she really knew nothing. Pack up quickly, she ordered, and I obliged. A smile formed on my lips as I bowed my head, but I couldn't let her suspect anything. I quickly composed my face. This will bring peace back to our home. I'm so happy, she remarked. But her happiness was short-lived. I couldn't help but think about the true hell awaiting her. After my mother-in-law had gone to bed, I explained the situation to Justin. I see, so it has come to this. Actually, I have something to tell you too, he said with a serious tone, surprising me. What? I asked. Various things. We'll talk about it later, he replied, his serious tone making me raise my voice in surprise. But he assured me we'd discuss it later. 3 days after being told to leave the house by my mother-in-law, I found a new place. Now the promised week was almost up. Well, today's the day of the promise. You understand, right? I asked Justin. Yes, the movers are scheduled to arrive soon, he replied. But when I inquired about Justin's whereabouts, he seemed to have gone out since the morning. Well, never mind. The thought of not having to see your face anymore is enough. I'm going out now. Make sure everything's clean, understood? I told my mother-in-law, smiling though not genuinely. An hour later, the moving company arrived and loaded all my belongings. I contacted Justin. All packed up, got it? Just make sure you get there safely, okay? See you later, he said, ending the call. I was excited to think about what would happen when my mother-in-law returned. Finally, the moment of completing the move arrived. What have you done? Justin's belongings are nowhere to be found, my mother-in-law exclaimed. Of course, we moved out together. No way. Do you want to check with him? I got out my phone, sent it to speaker, and handed it to my mother-in-law, who still couldn't grasp the situation. Justin confirmed the plan, leaving my mother-in-law bewildered. This was my plan all along, Mom, I admitted. What's happening? Tell me, she pleaded. Actually, about the model kit incident, we know that you did it, Justin declared, putting an end to her denials. There's no way Valerie would do such a thing, he added, defending me. Why do you think that? Because it was a gift from Valerie. She wouldn't break it on purpose, Justin reasoned. My mother-in-law was at a loss for words, realizing that she had been supported by the very person she had mistreated.
"Well then, you'll have to manage on your own from here on out," Justin concluded. "But I don't work if you two leave me," she said, coming to terms with the consequences of her actions. "Mom, it's no longer our business." "Well, it's time for each of us to do our best," Justin remarked, ending the conversation. We felt relieved. We had hoped for a good relationship at first, but quickly gave up. Now my mother-in-law chose her own fate. "But why did you keep it a secret about that? What about Mom?" I asked in disbelief. We looked at each other and burst out laughing. Finally, we could have a peaceful life together. About a month later, Justin expressed some doubts. "You seem down lately. Is there something troubling you?" "There's no need for you to worry. Please stop. It's too late for that." Acting tough is useless, I assure him. On this day, my mother-in-law was in an especially good mood. My feeling of foreboding came true, eventually becoming reality.
"You don't deserve this money," Patricia sneered through the phone, her voice dripping with contempt. "I'm just making sure it goes to someone more worthy." I lay in my hospital bed, still groggy from the emergency C-section, trying to process what my mother-in-law was saying. While I had been bringing her grandchild into the world, she had ransacked my home and stolen $100,000 from my safe. "Good luck with that," I replied evenly, my free hand instinctively resting on my newborn daughter's tiny back. The steady beeping of hospital monitors punctuated the silence. Patricia scoffed. "That's all you have to say? No tears? No begging? You really are as cold as I thought, Olivia." I smiled, though she couldn't see it. "Thanks for letting me know, Patricia. I need to rest now." I ended the call before she could respond, my hand trembling slightly as I set the phone down. My name is Olivia Chen, and at 32, I had just given birth to my first child while my mother-in-law robbed me blind. The irony wasn't lost on me. For 6 years, Patricia had made it clear I wasn't good enough for her son. My crime? Out-earning James. As an investment banker, I had built my wealth carefully, while James, a high school math teacher, never saw the imbalance as an issue. But Patricia did. A wife should support her husband, not overshadow him. She would say at family dinners, her disapproval simmering beneath every interaction. The fact that James was proud of me only made her resentment worse. And now she had taken what she thought was mine to punish me. What she didn't know was that I had been expecting something like this. It had started months ago. Innocuous questions about our finances, too much interest in where we stored valuables. Casual, almost idle curiosity. But I knew better. Then came the unannounced visits, always when James was at work. I caught her lingering in my home office, eyes flicking to the painting that concealed our safe. And 3 months ago, she had rifled through James's planner, searching for something she had no business knowing, the safe combination. That was when I made my move. The nurse interrupted my thoughts, checking my vitals. "Mrs. Chen, your blood pressure is high. Try to rest," she said, glancing at my phone, still buzzing with messages from Patricia. "Family drama can wait. You and your baby come first." If only she knew. I looked down at my daughter, Emma, nestled in her bassinet. She had James's nose, my chin, perfect in every way. And Patricia, in her greed, hadn't even asked about her grandchild. James arrived minutes later, his face pale with concern. "Liv, Mom's not answering. She was supposed to bring your overnight bag hours ago." He stopped short when he saw my expression. "What happened?" I told him everything. The call, the theft, Patricia's cruel gloating. As I spoke, his face darkened. "I'll call the police," he said, reaching for his phone. I caught his wrist. "Not yet. There's something you need to know first." I laid it all out, my suspicions, the months of watching Patricia's every move. I knew she'd try something. I just didn't expect her to strike while I was giving birth. James sat down heavily, running a hand through his hair. "I should have seen this coming. She's always resented you, but this is criminal." "Don't apologize," I said, squeezing his hand. "You're not responsible for her choices, and besides, I allow myself a small smile. She's in for a surprise." James frowned. "What do you mean?" "Remember when I had the safe service last month?" He nodded. "I did more than change the combination. I had them install a new safe, one with special features. Right on cue, my phone buzzed with an email notification. I opened it, the corners of my mouth curving upward. Want to see your mother in action? I asked, holding up my phone. James hesitated, then nodded. The footage was crystal clear. There was Patricia, using his planner to key in the combination. There she was, pulling out stacks of cash, a triumphant smirk on her face. What she didn't notice? The tiny red light blinking in the corner, recording every move. James exhaled sharply. Jesus. Keep watching, I said. The video showed Patricia carefully restoring everything, making sure no trace of her crime remained. She thought she had won. She hadn't. I don't understand, James murmured, eyes narrowing. That looks like real money. Because it's supposed to. I cradled Emma closer. Every bill in that safe is counterfeit, specialized movie prop money. The real savings, in another safe she doesn't know exists. James stared at me, realization dawning. You set her up. No, I corrected, meeting his gaze. I protected our assets from someone I knew would try to take them. There's a difference, and now we have undeniable proof. The phone buzzed again, an email from my lawyer, confirming receipt of the footage. So when you said good luck with that, I meant good luck explaining to the police why she stole $100,000 in fake bills. James exhaled, rubbing his face. She's going to lose it when she realizes. I smiled, watching our daughter sleep. She wanted to teach me a lesson about what I deserve. Instead, she's about to learn one herself. The first part of my plan had worked flawlessly. Now it was time for phase 2. The next morning, my phone exploded with notifications. Patricia had apparently discovered the truth about her stolen fortune and wasn't taking it well. The stream of voicemails ranged from furious to hysterical. How dare you trick me? Her first message screamed. You think you're so clever with your fake money? I'll show you what happens when you mess with me. Each subsequent message grew more desperate. By the 8th voicemail, her tone had shifted completely. Olivia, let's talk about this reasonably, she pleaded. It was just a misunderstanding. I was going to give it back, I swear. Think about the family. I played them on speaker while a police officer took notes beside my hospital bed. Officer Sarah Martinez had responded to our complaint within hours, her professional demeanor softening when she saw me recovering from surgery with a newborn. So your mother-in-law didn't even wait for you to deliver the baby before attempting the theft? She asked, shaking her head in disbelief. The security footage shows her entering our house at 2:47 p.m. James replied, his voice tight with anger. Olivia was in emergency surgery at that exact time. Officer Martinez made another note. And you have documentation proving the money was clearly marked as prop currency? I nodded, pulling up the purchase order on my phone. Every bill was marked for motion picture use only in accordance with federal law. I have receipts, documentation, and email correspondence with the prop company confirming everything. This is one of the most well-documented cases of attempted theft I've seen, she admitted. Usually we have to piece things together, but you've handed us everything we need. As if on cue, my phone buzzed with another call from Patricia. Officer Martinez gestured for me to answer it and record the conversation. Olivia. Patricia's voice was syrupy sweet now. I spoke with my lawyer. He says this could be very bad for both of us. How about we forget this whole thing happened? For James and the baby's sake. Both of us? I kept my voice neutral. I'm not the one who broke into someone's home and stole what I thought was $100,000. Broke in, she scoffed. I used the spare key, and I'm family. It's not stealing if it's family. Besides, you tricked me with fake money. That's basically entrapment. Officer Martinez raised an eyebrow, making more notes. Patricia, I said calmly, you entered our home without permission while I was having emergency surgery. You used a combination you obtained without authorization to access our safe. You took what you believed was $100,000 in real currency. The security cameras caught everything. How exactly is this a misunderstanding? You're twisting everything, she shrieked, her fake sweetness evaporating. James, I know you're there. Are you going to let her do this to your mother? After everything I've sacrificed for you? James took a deep breath. Mom, you tried to steal from my wife while she was giving birth to your grandchild. You haven't even asked about the baby. Do you understand how wrong this is? Wrong. Patricia's voice rose higher. What's wrong is having a daughter-in-law who thinks she's better than everyone else, who has a safe full of money while other people struggle. I was just trying to even things out. By stealing it? James asked quietly. By giving it to people who deserve it more, she snapped. Your sister needs help with her student loans. Your cousin Tom is behind on his mortgage. That money could have helped our family instead of sitting in a safe doing nothing. I exchanged glances with Officer Martinez, who was recording everything. Patricia was basically confessing her entire plan. So you were planning to distribute the stolen money to other family members? I asked, wanting to get it on record. It's not stealing if you're helping family, Patricia insisted. And now you've ruined everything with your stupid fake money. Do you know how embarrassing this is? I'd already told everyone I could help them. James put his head in his hands. Mom, who exactly did you tell about the money you stole? There was a long pause. Nobody, she said quickly, but we could hear the panic in her voice. Just a few people. It doesn't matter now anyway since it's all fake. This is all Olivia's fault. She set me up. Now, Patricia, I said firmly, you set yourself up. You chose to break into our home. You chose to steal what you thought was real money. You chose to make promises to people about money that wasn't yours. Those were all your choices. Well, I choose to tell everyone what you did, she threatened. How you tricked me. How you set up cameras in your home to trap me. How you committed the crime of protecting my property. I finished for her. Go ahead. Tell everyone how you got caught trying to steal $100,000 while I was having emergency surgery. I'm sure they'll be very sympathetic. Officer Martinez gestured that she had enough. I ended the call as Patricia launched into another tirade. That was enlightening, the officer said, reviewing her notes. She not only admitted to the theft but also revealed premeditation and plans to distribute stolen funds. Your lawyer is going to have a field day with this. As if summoned, my lawyer's name appeared on my phone. Speaking of which, I said, answering the call. Olivia, Lisa's crisp voice came through the speaker. I've reviewed everything, the security footage, the documentation about the prop money, and now this recorded confession. We have an airtight case. How do you want to proceed? I looked at James, who nodded his support. What are our options? We can press criminal charges for attempted grand theft, Lisa outlined. Given the amount she thought she was stealing, it would be a felony. Or we can use this as leverage for a different kind of resolution. Different how? James asked. Your mother has assets, Lisa explained. Property, investments. We could negotiate a settlement where she liquidates some assets to establish a trust fund for your daughter, the grandchild she ignored while trying to steal from her parents. I considered this, and if she refuses, then we proceed with criminal charges, and she faces potential jail time. Given the evidence we have, conviction is almost certain. James squeezed my hand. It's your call, Liv. Whatever you decide, I'm with you. I looked down at Emma, still peacefully oblivious to all the drama surrounding her birth. Let's start with a settlement offer. If Patricia refuses, then we'll pursue criminal charges. She needs to understand there are consequences to her actions, but I'd rather those consequences benefit Emma than put her grandmother in jail. Very diplomatic. Lisa approved. I'll draft the paperwork immediately. In the meantime, do you want me to file for a restraining order? Another call from Patricia lit up my phone screen. Yes, James and I said simultaneously. As Lisa hung up to begin the legal proceedings, I settled back against my pillows, suddenly exhausted. The adrenaline of the past 24 hours was wearing off, leaving me drained. You should rest, James said, noticing my fatigue. I'll handle Mom for now. I nodded, already feeling sleep creeping in. Just think, I murmured, someday we'll tell Emma the story of how her grandmother's attempt to steal her parents' savings ended up creating her trust fund instead. James laughed softly. Somehow, I don't think that's the story Mom imagined when she opened our safe. As I drifted off, I couldn't help but smile. Patricia had thought she was teaching me a lesson about what I deserved. Instead, she was about to learn an expensive lesson of her own. And this was just the beginning. The next week unraveled like a slow-motion disaster for Patricia, each attempt to salvage her reputation only accelerating her downfall. Ignoring the cease and desist order from our lawyer, she launched into a social media frenzy, casting herself as the wounded party. My cruel daughter-in-law set me up. she ranted online. She tricked me with fake money just to humiliate me. But instead of sympathy, the responses were merciless. So, you're admitting you tried to steal $100,000? One relative commented. While she was in emergency surgery, added another. And you still haven't met your grandchild? A third chimed in. With each defensive reply, Patricia only cemented her guilt. By the time she realized she was digging her own grave, it was too late. Screenshots of her posts had already been forwarded to our lawyer and added to our legal arsenal. The settlement meeting was scheduled 2 weeks after Emma's birth. In Lisa's sleek downtown office, James and I sat on one side of the conference table, while Patricia and her reluctant-looking lawyer sat on the other. The contrast was stark. Lisa was composed, armed with neatly organized folders of evidence, while Patricia's lawyer looked like he was already regretting his involvement. Lisa opened the meeting with calm efficiency. Mrs. Harrison, we're prepared to offer you an alternative to criminal charges. She slid a document across the table. You will liquidate your rental property and investment portfolio to fund a trust for Emma. The total should approximate the amount you attempted to steal. Patricia's face darkened. This is extortion. You're trying to ruin me. No, Lisa corrected smoothly. We're offering you a way to avoid a felony conviction by making restitution through a trust for your grandchild, the one you ignored while committing a crime. Patricia turned to her lawyer, expecting backup. Instead, he sighed, shifting uncomfortably. Mrs. Harrison, given the overwhelming evidence, this is an incredibly lenient offer. Lenient? She hissed. They're bleeding me dry. I finally spoke, my voice even. Not at all. You're only giving up what you tried to steal. Consider it karma. James squeezed my hand under the table as Patricia launched into a tirade about family loyalty and my so-called cruelty. But we'd expected this. Patricia had never taken responsibility for anything in her life. Why start now? Lisa, unfazed, simply closed her folder. You have 48 hours to decide. If you decline, we proceed with criminal charges. Then, silence. No calls, no messages, no social media rants. And on the morning of the deadline, Patricia's lawyer called Lisa. His client would accept the settlement. 1 month later, Emma's trust fund was formally established, ironically, larger than the sum Patricia had tried to steal. The rental property sold quickly, and the stock market had been in her favor. In the end, she lost more than she ever could have gained. She moved in with her sister in another state, still refusing to meet Emma, but that didn't stop her from crafting a new narrative. Online, she became a martyr, a devoted grandmother cruelly kept from her grandchild. But the family saw through it. Even her sister admitted, she's always been entitled. Maybe this will finally teach her a lesson. As for us, life moved on. Emma grew stronger each day, filling our home with laughter. The safe behind the painting remained, now empty except for the prop money. A quiet reminder that sometimes the best defense isn't confrontation, it's preparation. One evening, as we watched Emma sleep, James shook his head with a rueful smile. Mom always said you were too obsessed with money. But in the end, she's the one who let greed destroy her relationship with her granddaughter. I ran a gentle hand over Emma's soft curls. Sometimes people tell you exactly who they are. You just have to be ready when they do. The security cameras in the safe still blinked silently. We never needed them again. Patricia still told her version of events to anyone who would listen, spinning tales of betrayal and trickery. But now, when people heard her story, they didn't ask why I had set up cameras. They asked why she was trying to steal from her own son's family in the first place. And sometimes the most damning lessons are the ones people teach themselves. Hi, I'm Anna. I catch my reflection in the salon's sleek glass windows and can't help but smile at the irony. A decade ago, I used to avoid mirrors, dreading the sight of myself. Now, I own Crown and Glory, the most exclusive hair salon in the city. Funny how life works out. Ready for the Anderson wedding party. Sarah brushes past me, arms full of high-end styling products. My best friend since high school, now my business partner, the only person who truly understands what this success means to me. 6 bridesmaids, 1 mother of the bride, and the star herself, I say, smirking. Piece of cake. But as I tuck a loose strand of hair behind my ear, my fingers linger, a habit I've never quite shaken. These days, my hair cascades past my shoulders in healthy waves, a far cry from the choppy, jagged cuts of my childhood. Sarah must notice because her voice softens. Remember when Diana used to drag you to that awful discount place every 2 months? The memory hits like a slap. My stepmother, standing behind me with that saccharine, performative concern. Anna's hair just grows so fast, James, she'd tell my father, voice dripping with fake reason. You know how unruly it gets. We need to keep it manageable for school. And he, ever practical, would nod in agreement, never questioning why his daughter always returned looking like she'd lost a fight with a lawnmower. Meanwhile, her daughters, Vanessa and Victoria, sat at home brushing their thick, flowing hair, smirking as I walked in the door. Those weren't haircuts. They were punishments. I exhaled sharply, straightening a row of scissors with more force than necessary. Every time someone complimented my hair, every school dance where the boys noticed me instead of her precious girls, I snapped my fingers. Chop, chop, chop. Sarah nods, her expression darkening. She was always the one finding me crying in the school bathroom after another forced trip to the stylist's chair. Your dad never realized. Because Diana always waited until he was traveling, I mutter. By the time he got back, she had him convinced it was my choice. That I wanted a low-maintenance style for swimming. I remember those dinner table conversations, how Vanessa and Victoria would twirl their perfect locks while Diana beamed at me, congratulating me on being so mature for choosing practicality over vanity. The front door chimes, snapping me back to the present. My posture straightens, a professional smile already in place. But just before greeting our first client, I steal another glance at my reflection. The scared teenager with the butchered hair is gone. In her place stands a woman who built an empire from her pain, who took her stepmother's cruelty and forged it into something unstoppable. You know what the best part is? I murmur to Sarah as we head to our stations. She raises a brow. What? Every time someone walks out of this salon feeling beautiful, it's another victory over Diana. I flash a slow, satisfied smile. And trust me, there are plenty more victories to come. Sarah grins, catching the glint in my eye. Speaking of which, didn't Victoria just post about wanting a makeover for her wedding? Oh yes. I smile, picking up my favorite scissors. Won't this be interesting? The front door chimes again, and I nearly drop them. There they are. Diana, Vanessa, Victoria, strutting into my salon like they own the place. 7 years since I left home, and they haven't changed a bit. Same entitled expressions, same superior attitudes. They don't recognize me at first, hidden behind my sleek black uniform. My polished confidence, my success. We need the best stylist you have, Diana announces, her voice as saccharine as ever. That tone used to make my stomach turn. My daughter Victoria is getting married, and we want everything perfect. Across the salon, Sarah catches my eye, her lips twitching in amusement. Of course, she says smoothly. Let me get our owner. She personally handles all our VIP clients. I take my time walking over, watching as Victoria preens in the mirror, while Vanessa absently flips through a magazine. Did you see Anna's profile in the business section? Vanessa snorts, running some little salon across town. Can you believe she's trying to compete with places like this? Well, Victoria drawls, adjusting her engagement ring. She always did think too highly of herself. Diana chuckles, adjusting her designer scarf. Remember how your father had to constantly remind her that beauty isn't everything? Those haircuts were for her own good, teaching her humility. My hands tightened behind the reception desk. Humility, that's what she called it. Every time a boy asked me to a dance. Every time a school event meant I might shine just a little too brightly. Every time I started to feel confident, snip, snip, snip. Your stylist will be right with you, I say, stepping forward. Their laughter cuts off. Victoria's jaw drops. Diana's face twitches in horror. It's been a while, hasn't it? I say, my voice light, pleasant, professional. This is your salon. Victoria chokes out. Yes, I smile. Welcome to Crown and Glory, the most exclusive salon in the city. Sarah leans against the counter, arms crossed, enjoying the show. Sarah, I say casually, could you grab my special lookbook? The one with the before and after photos. She disappears into the back, but we both know what she's actually retrieving. My old photo album. The one filled with every horrible haircut, every tear-streaked aftermath, every date meticulously recorded, along with Diana's instructions to the cheap salons, always requesting they take off as much as possible, regardless of my preference. I take my time flipping through the pages when Sarah returns, letting Vanessa and Victoria get a good look. You know what's fascinating? I mused, tilting the book toward them. Every bad haircut lines up perfectly with an event where I might have gotten more attention than your daughters. I glance up. What a coincidence. Diana's face drains of color. I reach for my phone. I wonder what Dad would think about all these coincidences. He's been asking why I never come to family dinners anymore. You wouldn't dare, Diana hisses. I hold her gaze, unflinching. Try me. Then I smile, slipping my phone into my pocket. Now about those wedding styles. Shall we discuss how you'd like to look in the photos? Victoria swallows hard. We should go. Diana doesn't move right away, but she knows she's lost. Without another word, they turn and leave. But I'm not done yet. Within days, Vanessa and Victoria are posting cryptic warnings about unprofessional salons on their social media. Diana is whispering at her charity committee meetings about how some people just can't let go of the past. Pathetic. But I've spent years being silent, and I'm done. While sorting through Dad's old study, I find his camera bag stuffed in the back of his closet. Hours of family videos, and then Christmas morning. I was 15. Anna, show everyone your new haircut. Diana's voice rings out from the speakers. The camera pans to me, devastated. Hair brutally chopped short just before the annual family portrait. She picked it herself, didn't you, dear? In the background, Vanessa leans toward Victoria, whispering. Mom said shorter hair would make her nose look bigger in the photos. Sarah sits beside me, watching the footage. Your dad needs to see this, she murmurs. I nod. He will, along with everyone else who matters. The annual Henderson family dinner is days away. Every notable family in their social circle will be there. I arrive early, helping Dad set up in the kitchen. Remember how you used to braid my hair before bed? I say, scrolling to a picture on my phone. Before Diana decided long hair was too high maintenance for me. He frowns. She said you wanted it short. His voice trails off as the video plays. The whispered conversations. The tearful aftermath of each forced haircut. Diana's smug satisfaction as she systematically chipped away at a young girl's confidence. Dad sinks into a chair, his face pale. My God. I never knew. I should have seen. But he didn't. And that's exactly why he's seeing it now. The Henderson Charity Gala, Diana's crown jewel. Her moment to shine. The elegant, compassionate philanthropist, the perfect wife, the devoted mother. She stands at the podium, delivering her well-rehearsed speech about supporting vulnerable youth. And then the screen behind her changes. The slideshow begins. Photo after photo. A teenage girl, her confidence stripped away piece by piece. Video clips, Diana's own voice, her own manipulation, laid bare for the entire room. The forced haircuts, the whispered comments. Then Vanessa and Victoria's voices, captured without their knowledge, murmuring the truth. Mom said shorter hair would make her nose look bigger in the photos. Mom didn't want her looking better than us. A ripple of stunned silence spreads through the crowd. Diana falters. Her poised, practiced smile freezes as she turns to the screen, staring at her own reflection in the evidence. The room is no longer hers. I stand. My voice is clear, steady, louder than hers ever was. I believe that childhood emotional abuse is exactly the kind of issue this charity should address. Gasps, murmurs. And then, Dad rises beside me. We need to talk? Now. The aftermath swift, unforgiving. Diana's charity board position. Gone. Her social standing, shattered. Vanessa and Victoria's wedding invitations, mysteriously lost in the mail. As for Crown and Glory, booked solid for months. It turns out karma has an incredible sense of irony, and it looks dang good on everyone who walks through my doors. Dad stops by the salon weekly now, usually bringing lunch and apologies I no longer need. We're rebuilding stronger than before. Sarah jokes that we should add revenge makeovers to our service menu. Looking in the mirror now, I see more than success. I see victory. My hair flows past my shoulders exactly the way I choose to wear it. And every client who walks through my doors leaves feeling just as empowered. Diana still lives in town, I hear. Still tries to maintain her social circle. But here's the thing about small communities, they have long memories. And thanks to that charity gala footage, everyone knows exactly who she is. As for me, I'm too busy running the city's most exclusive salon to worry about her anymore. Though I did send her a gift card for a free haircut. She hasn't used it yet. Now let's talk. Did Anna go too far by exposing Diana in such a public way? What about Vanessa and Victoria? They were just teenagers when this started, raised by a mother who taught them that putting others down was the only way to stay on top. Now their social standing is gone. Their wedding plans are in shambles. Their lives are forever changed. Were they victims of Diana's manipulation too? Or were they old enough to know exactly what they were doing? What do you think? Have you ever been in a situation where getting justice meant others might get hurt? How did you handle it? What would you have done if you were Anna? If this story hit home for you, hit that like button. If you've ever faced toxic family dynamics, share your thoughts in the comments. And if you believe in justice, help this reach someone who needs to hear it. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't just living well. Hey everyone, I'm Amy. I'm 29, and after years of hard work, I climbed my way up to marketing manager at one of Chicago's top firms. If there's one thing people know about me, it's that I'm reliable. And no one knew that better than my brother James. We were inseparable, weekly dinners, inside jokes, the whole 9 yards. Until Victoria came along. Amy, you have to meet her. She's amazing. James had gushed the first time he introduced us. I'm sure we'll be great friends, Victoria had said with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. At first, the changes were small. A canceled dinner here, a forgotten text there. Sorry, Amy, Victoria already made plans for us tonight. Then it was entire weeks without a word. My best friend, Diana, was the first to call it out. Girl, when was the last time James actually showed up for your Thursday coffee? He's just busy, wedding planning and all. Or maybe someone's keeping him busy on purpose. Even Victoria's sister, Chelsea, seemed uneasy. At a family barbecue, she pulled me aside. Amy, I need to tell you something about Vike. Chelsea. Victoria appeared out of nowhere, her smile tight, her tone ice cold. Mom needs you in the kitchen. Now, at work, my colleague Marcus tried to warn me too. You know, I've heard some stories about Victoria from mutual friends. But I brushed it all off. I wanted to believe James had found someone wonderful. Then came the wedding planning. Victoria took over everything, leaving me out of dress fittings, cake tastings, venue tours. Oh, did you get my text about the bridesmaids brunch? Must have been a glitch. And James, my brother, my best friend, became a stranger. He checked his phone before answering me, like he needed permission to speak. James, want to grab lunch tomorrow? Let me check with Victoria first. Just when I thought I was being completely shut out, Victoria called. Her voice was all sugar and silk. Amy, darling, I've been thinking. You simply must do a special reading during the ceremony. It would mean so much to us. And you'll need to help coordinate the reception entrance. You know, make sure everyone's in their proper place. I trust you can handle that responsibility. Diana didn't buy it for a second. This feels like a setup, Amy. Maybe she's finally trying to include me. Or maybe she's planning something. Nobody changes their spots that fast. I wanted to believe it was an olive branch. I wanted to believe Victoria had finally decided to let me in. Looking back, I should have listened to Diana. Because what happened next at the wedding reception? That's when everything really fell apart. The wedding day. It started like a nightmare. I was just about to leave when I heard Mrs. Peterson screaming next door. I rushed over and found her on the floor, her face contorted in pain. Her hip, badly hurt. Please don't leave me alone, dear. I'm scared. How could I just walk away? I called 911 and stayed with her until the ambulance arrived. My hands were still shaking as I checked my phone, 20 minutes late. I ran into the reception hall, breathless, heart pounding. And that's when all hell broke loose. How dare you show up now? Victoria's voice cut through the music like a blade. I barely had time to catch my breath before she was on me, her face twisted in fury. Where were you during the entrance lineup? There was an emergency. Emergency? She let out a sharp laugh. You're just trying to ruin my special day. You couldn't stand that your brother found happiness, could you? The room went silent. 200 pairs of eyes turned toward me. Whispers spread like wildfire. James appeared, walking toward us. Relief surged through me. Surely he'd listen. Surely he'd defend me. James, I can explain. Save it, Amy. His voice was cold. Unfamiliar. You've always been jealous of Victoria. I can't believe you do this today of all days. James. Just leave. You've done enough damage. I stood there frozen. Victoria smirked, turning to her friend Ashley, loud enough for the nearby guests to hear. Worked perfectly. Told her the wrong time on purpose. Knew she'd fall for it. They laughed like it was the funniest joke in the world. Nearby, Chelsea's face paled. Oh my God, Vic, you didn't. Victoria shrugged. Of course I did. Had to put little Miss Perfect in her place. Who shows up late to a wedding? Now everyone knows what kind of person she really is. I felt a hand on my shoulder. Deanna. Her phone was out, recording everything. Don't worry, she whispered. I got it all. Every nasty word. But it didn't matter. Because at that moment, all I could see was James, my brother, my best friend, standing with his arm around Victoria, glaring at me like I was nothing. You should be ashamed of yourself, he spat, making a scene at my wedding. Victoria's crocodile tears started flowing. I just wanted everything to be perfect. The room blurred. Some faces were sympathetic. Others, judgmental. Chelsea tried to speak up. James, wait. You don't understand. Stay out of this, Chelsea. I straightened my spine, forcing myself to look Victoria in the eyes. Congratulations on your wedding, I said quietly. I won't bother you again. Diana grabbed my arm. Amy, don't go. We can show them the recording. Not now, Di. Just, not now. I walked out with my head held high. But my heart was shattered. The last thing I heard was Victoria's triumphant laugh, and James's voice, cold and final. I never thought my own sister would stoop so low. 6 months later, I threw myself into work. My new marketing campaign caught the CEO's attention, landing me a promotion to senior marketing director. But Victoria wasn't done with me. Did you hear what James's wife is saying about Amy? I overheard the whispers in the break room. Something about stealing from her last company. I turned to confront them, but Marcus stopped me. Don't give her the satisfaction, he murmured. I got friends at her firm. They're already looking into some suspicious activity in her department. Meanwhile, Chelsea started sending me screenshots. Chelsea, Mom and Dad can't come for Christmas anymore. James, in a recording, we always spend it together. Victoria, they criticized my cooking last time. Besides, I already promised my family we'd go to their place. Chelsea, texting me. That's not what happened at all. She told her parents you and James wanted space from them. Then Diana dug deeper. Diana. Emmy, your parents called. Victoria told them you were too busy for their anniversary dinner. Me? What? I never. Diana? Exactly. I've got 10 more examples of her lying about conversations that never happened. And then, the breaking point. Chelsea called me, crying. She screamed at Mom. She choked out. Mom brought over soup when James was sick. Victoria said she was undermining her as a wife. James finally saw it. James, in the background, shocked. Did you make my mother cry? Victoria. She's suffocating us. Always dropping by unannounced. Chelsea. She called first. You said it was fine. Victoria. Oh, so now you're taking their side? Just like your ungrateful sister. James. Leave Amy out of this. It was a crack, a small one. But a crack nonetheless. And the truth kept unraveling. Marcus stopped by my office. Remember those friends at Victoria's company? They found something big. She's been funneling client payments into a personal account. Diana added another piece to the puzzle. I talked to their wedding vendors. She didn't just mess with your timeline. She did it to half the wedding party. I have emails proving she created chaos on purpose, to play the victim. Then came Chelsea's latest message. Chelsea. James found Victoria's burner phone. She's been texting herself, pretending to be different family members. Starting drama. And another. Chelsea. Your dad stopped by their house today. Victoria screamed at him for bringing James's favorite childhood photos. called it emotional manipulation. Then, a voice recording. James, shaken. She did what? Chelsea. You should see how she talks about your family in our group chat. I save everything. A final message from Chelsea. Chelsea. James found Victoria's notebook. She had a whole plan. How to isolate him from everyone. Starting with you, Amy. He's finally seeing the truth. And then, for the first time in months, my phone lit up with James's name. I stared at it and let it go to voicemail. Some bridges once burned should stay that way. I had a meeting to attend. When the news broke, Victoria's perfect world imploded spectacularly. An anonymous tip exposed her embezzlement scheme. Turn on the news, Diana texted. Your ex-sister-in-law is doing the perp walk. Chelsea called seconds later, breathless. They found everything, Amy. The fake accounts. The forged documents. She's looking at serious time. And just like that, the house of lies collapsed. Then came the flood of revelations. Chelsea had finally shown James everything. The burner phones, the manipulative texts, the recorded conversations. Every calculated move Victoria made to isolate him from his family. From me, my assistant poked her head into my office. Miss Anderson, your brother's here again. I didn't even look up. Tell him I'm in a meeting. A pause. Then his voice, raw pleading. Emmy, please. James pushed past her before she could stop him. I was wrong, he choked out. I see everything now. I finally looked at him. The brother I had once adored. The one who had thrown me away. 3 years too late, James. His shoulders sagged. She manipulated me. And you let her. My voice was steady. Cold. Every time she hurt me. Every time she hurt our parents. You chose her. His face crumpled. I'm getting a divorce. Please, you're my sister. I shook my head. No, James. I was your sister. Now, I'm just someone you used to know. The fallout was swift. His law firm put him on leave. Turns out, being married to a convicted felon wasn't great for a corporate lawyer's image. That night, Diana showed up with wine. His second wedding invitation arrived at my place. She smirked. He knows you moved. I sipped my wine. Paris is lovely in June. And just like that, I booked our flights. Victoria's sentencing came and went. 5 years for embezzlement. James filed for divorce before she even made bail, Chelsea told me. I barely reacted. By then, I had moved on. My housewarming party was filled with real friends. No toxic family allowed. Marcus brought his famous lasagna. To Amy's promotion to VP of Marketing, he toasted. And to karma, Diana added. My phone buzzed. Another text from James. I'm getting married again. Sarah's different. She'd love to meet you. I clicked delete and raised my glass. You sure about skipping his wedding? Diana asked. I smiled. Some bridges should burn. Besides, I hear the Louvre is gorgeous that time of year. The last I heard, Victoria was still writing desperate letters from prison, begging James to understand. It was all a misunderstanding, she'd written. Chelsea sighed. He finally blocked her number. As for me, I hung up photos from our Paris trip in my new home office. No family pictures, no wedding memories, no reminders of what was. Just images of the life I chose, successful, peaceful, and completely toxic-free. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even. It's walking away, building something better while they drown in their own chaos. Let them deal with their own karma. I'll be sipping champagne under the Eiffel Tower. Another postcard from James, Diana said, dropping off my mail. I didn't even glance at it, just added it to the pile of unopened ones in my desk drawer. Some chapters need to stay closed. Looking out at the city skyline, I smiled. My life was fuller without the drama, richer without the toxicity, and absolutely perfect without the family that chose lies over love. Besides, Paris was calling again. And this time, we were staying for a month. What would you do? If your sibling chose their toxic spouse over you, then years later came back begging for forgiveness, would you give them another chance? Or would you protect your peace, like I did, and choose Paris instead? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your take on family loyalty versus self-preservation. And if this story resonated with you, don't forget to like and subscribe for more real stories about overcoming toxic relationships and choosing yourself. Because sometimes the hardest choices lead to the most beautiful destinations.